these are exceptionally difficult market conditions. Obviously, because of the volatility, where you have 1% moves every hour. And, last week between the bottom and where we are now, it's like a 15% move. Same thing here. It goes up 15%, drops. So it's extraordinary. I'm always looking for the pattern that is going to govern or dictate the next direction. And this is really where the challenge of trading comes in, where the market throws us all kinds of looks, and we got to figure out, where to hop on board that next trade. And, for that reason, I've really been kind of cautioning, activism, and waiting for the market to give us more evidence, because, if you miss it, you really get chopped up. And really, I'm looking at like a stock like Microsoft. So there's a guy on CNBC, one of our news programs, John Fort. I like him very much. He does this, this thing, on the other hand, so he goes, on one hand, he gives, the company analysis and it all seems credible and whatever. And he goes, but on the other hand, and then he presents other very credible, so there's always many sides to look at things, especially when it comes to the market. So, I'm looking at, these patterns. This head and shoulders here looks like a man or woman's head and shoulders. Then you kind of get this, double top here. So you get this combination bear patterns, and then it really forms this rectangle top. And we broke out of this top, and if a top's a top, it means ultimately things should go lower. But then here again, now last week we get thrown this, haymaker, where you get this very large bottom, and then it's really coupled with evidence that I'm usually looking for, where you get these nice key reversals. They at the lows made a new low, close at the high. So now I'm saying to myself, is this a bottoming pattern that's going to do that? And it could be. I don't think so. But here's the thing. I mean, until it kind of really tells us where it's going to go, it's creates this element of doubt, so that's the problem. It's like when I get into a trade and I can see an area of risk and reward, I back it up and I have a high degree of confidence. When I get into these areas where, you're just scared of what the market can do and how much it can do it. So you can see we're right on this inflection point, is it going to do this or is it going to back down? And so while I'm skeptical of it going higher, I also know that markets just don't go straight up and then go straight down against that. They need to kind of build out, they need to kind of present certain things. And so this is kind of what, I've been saying day after day, you kind of have to wait. Now, on the other hand, I mean, you could get long here, put a buy stop here, put a sell, a stop loss there and create a risk reward trade. I just feel very skittish that, I'm going to get rated and what have you. And so this is the internal conundrum that I am having. I think the markets are coming down, but having said that, they could go, build all of these mountains and it could take another 6 months or a year, like this. So I do think it's going to come down in, something like that, but it could take time. And the problem is now it becomes a very, choppy kind of thing. And we're used to these kind of markets where, we get these one-way kind of moves. And now it could be just, a very, cutthroat market. So we have State of the Union tonight. The president is going to address the country. Obviously, front and center is Ukraine. But frankly, right now, it's all about Powell. It's, Putin is, a nutcase and, it's the asymmetry of what he may or may not do that's creating, all this havoc. But having said that, the financial markets are extraordinarily stable. I think the Australians backed off raising rates because of the Ukraine thing. So that's the thing, is that I think, people say, well, how can the market go higher in this crazy environment? Because, the market is ultimately about the Fed and liquidity. All these other geopolitical and, other things is just noise. The market's about credit and liquidity. And now the thinking is, well, maybe the Fed can't go as hard because, with all this other chaos there. So it's, a very noisy, confusing, dicey thing, volatile. And so, there are always trades. I mean, I'm looking at trades like Snowflake, which I think announces earnings tomorrow, what have you, that feels like it's just ratcheting down, notwithstanding the market's going higher. It's failed to go higher in the last 2 days. You can see we had a bounce, and then the last 2 days, we can't make any move out of here. And so, you have these kind of two reversals inside bars, and I think you could put a sell stop there, pending order at 260, and if it picks you up, it's, likely to. Now, again, markets don't typically go straight down like this. So, you may just have a backing and filling day, but, tomorrow with the earnings, I have a feeling it's going to go down. But, again, very hesitant to recommend something with earnings. So Snowflake's kind of had this symmetrical triangle that it fell out of some time ago. Then it, created this secondary asymmetric double top. And so, these patterns suggest, now you kind of look like you've got these shoulders and it looks like this thing wants to roll over. Whenever I see a market hits certain levels so many times, so there's, double bottoms and triple bottoms, but, after a while, when the market hits the low so many times, ultimately it takes it out.
You can see, 45, it's 1.3 million.
$1.3 million short.
So popped out a profit for 118,000 there.
So you can see how this is going crazy now. You can see how the market just going nuts.
I bet like $1.6 million on this position. I'm showing right now $23,000 gain.